Jason, or Jesus, is being spit out of the wormhole. Jason, Jesus, all those names are the exact same. This is Adam, Eve, and the serpent. This is Ea, Ninharzag, and the serpent. This is Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and the serpent. It is all of those stories wrapped up into one. When Jason and the Argonauts went in search of the Arkonaut, they were in search of the Stargate, or the wormhole, that would take them from out of Earth into another place within the heavens. And Pallas Athena, Mari, Inanna, Istara are the goddesses that operate that wormhole. Maya and Mary are phonetically interchangeable terms. The name of her husband is Yama, which is I am. Maya and I am. I am is the hidden power. It's an alternative name for the Hebrew God Yahweh. I am. I am is the Word. And what is the Word? The Word is the wood. It's the Word, the world, it's the life force energy also upon which our world is built. There's 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. The 5th element is wood. It's missing. It's the quintessence, the 5th essence of which physicists tell us all of our universe is actually composed. And there's a quest to find this other 9/10 of the missing matter of which our universe is composed. And it is the wood or the word. It is ultimately love. Now, you go to Sunday school, they teach you that Jesus was a carpenter. He could have made this podium right here. Yeah, maybe. But when you plug it back into what I was just showing you as a nagari, or carpenter, Jesus isn't a woodworker, he is a light worker. Perhaps the only person closest to him in his ability would be an Albert Einstein in his understanding of light and how light is transformed. The symbol for wood, the 5th element, is the 3-in-1 cluster of grapes, the Trinity. Now, when you recognize what that symbol is, you find it everywhere. You find Apollo, the sun god, up here at the central sun. Here comes a serpent rope, and down here at the very bottom, the serpent rope splits into 3 heads. The 3 heads are, of course, the symbol for wood, the cluster of grapes. This is a Cathar watermark. It's a Cathar representation of the cross of Christ. Has at its base an ox with a pillar with a serpent wound around it. The serpent is spitting out 3 circles. The symbol for the cluster of grapes, the blue apples, the missing matter, the quintessence, the light that transforms, the light that enlightens. And there it is right there, comparison between the 2. It's also called the deadhead, these 3 circles are. This is an alchemical symbol. The Buddhists are very familiar with the cluster of grapes, the blue apples. They call them the 3 jewels of Buddhism. Anyone can achieve enlightenment by following Buddha's 8-fold path and by seeking refuge in the 3 jewels. By seeking refuge in the blue apples. Find those blue apples, buddy, and you're enlightened. A moment ago, I mentioned the word deadhead. I'm not talking about followers of the Grateful Dead. I'm talking about the tet that is on the back of the Shigura helmet right here. This is the tet that connects her with the pillar. The tet is well known in the iconography of Hathor, where we see the tet pillars upholding the serpent in the jar. No kidding. This is the symbol for the hidden power, Amun, which is a serpent in a jar. I find it fascinating, the wordplay between Dendara, where the serpent in the jar is found, and Dentara, the den of Tara, the den of enlightenment. What is this den enlightening us about? It is enlightening us about the tet pillar and the serpent in the jar, which Eric von Daniken says represents electricity. Might could be. Very well could be. It also is so that the word serpent and soul are interchangeable. So perhaps what the serpent in the jar here represents is not a reptile or electricity. It represents some form of a soul-based technology. Some form of a technology for bringing Tara into our world. The Tet pillars are also found in the hieroglyph of Osiris. What's going to happen here is these two Tet pillars, which surround this device right here, are going to all get pieced together. This right here is the Egyptian hieroglyph for sanctuary. It resembles in form and, I believe, function the biblical Ark of the Covenant. Remember, Joshua and his companions steal the cluster of grapes. They bring them back to Moses. Moses is scared to death to go where the Anunnaki are, and they go off and running. End of story. They don't tell us in the Bible what happened to that cluster of grapes. I mean, they steal the secrets of the gods, and the Bible doesn't even say what happened to them. They probably returned them at Walmart or something. I don't know. I think they took the cluster of grapes and put them in the ark. The two tablets that Moses put in the ark are supposed to possibly have been made of sapphire or blue stone. Maybe those are a reference to them. You know, what they want to do, sometimes they're keeping you busy over here while they're real busy over there with the real secrets. Sometimes they just give you a little surface story that feeds the masses while folks like us really want to know, so we start following the trail. Well, the trail leads to Egypt here, where the ark likely originated, and it is in this ark that we find the blue apples. What happens is that this pillar right here will be put on top of the ark, and now we have the full-blown actual Ark of the Covenant. A pillar that housed the soul of the Egyptian savior Osiris, and also could drill holes in space. Excuse me. Drill holes in space, did you say? What are we talking about here? When you talk about Moses with the ark, he's not drilling any holes in space. Well, he's climbing Mount Sinai, which is a code term for this pillar, I believe. And when Moses goes into the Promised Land, he's probably not talking about some little isolated place on Earth. We're probably actually talking about some place far more imaginable. That pillar is the same as this pillar of the Cathars that spits the blue apples. And I've been working with the artist Dana Augustine to fully render this pillar, to bring it to life. See, there's just very few representations of this pillar. Most of them have been destroyed. And so what I'm doing is working to assimilate those and bring them together. And this is Dana's work thus far. It's a work in progress. We're just getting started, and over the coming months, I'm hoping to be able to really fully bring this to life for you so that you can see and animate how this thing actually worked. Here's the pillar here. It stood approximately 90 feet tall, 90 to 180 feet tall. And its base, as you can see, is the Ark of the Covenant, and here's some people that are working on it. A closer view of the actual Ark. It looks sort of like an oil rig, and in fact, that's quite intentional. And as you can see, the people are working with the pillar right here. There's a man with an ox beside him here. And what this pillar does is represented on the next slide. As we can see, that base is very similar, and in fact, almost identical to the accepted interpretation of what the biblical Ark of the Covenant looked like. They are the same thing. What's missing in the Bible account is the pillar attachment that sat on top of it. Now, why do you remove that pillar attachment from the Bible? Well, the reason is because it belonged to the goddess Tara. And the Hebrew patriarchs didn't want you thinking that the gals had anything between the ears up here. So they omit any reference to it. But there's something more insidious that happens here. You see, the ark is actually going to be a representation of our human body. The entire pillar put together is the body. The ark is our solar plexus region. The first three chakras of our tree of life are all about power, control, and manipulation. And so let's look at it this way. If you keep a bunch of people out here thinking the ark is a simple golden box in which these tablets were put, and you don't tell them that there's a pillar, then you're going to keep them locked into a patriarchal, very controlling view of myth and scripture and also of the body. But once you realize that the ark is in this region of our body, the solar plexus, and the two tablets are our kidneys, and that there's a pillar attachment to it, now all of a sudden you're climbing on up the tree of life. When you put that pillar on top of the ark, now you're following the path of the enlightened ones. You're beginning to open the heart. You're opening the power of the throat chakra, the third eye, and the crown. If you're not taught that the ark is a full, complete pillar, then you're not going to be looking for those enlightenment teachings. You're not going to think that that's what it's about. And you're going to subscribe to the 10 commandments that were written on those two tablets and put in the ark. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. That's a penal code that Enlil has brought forward to say what he will and will not put up with from you crappy slaves. I'm going to show you later that this full pillar was actually the pillar of crucifixion and also the flagellation. There's the ox symbol, which is why the Cathars use the ox as a symbol for the pillar. These two tablets that sit on top of the complete pillar, the complete Ark of the Covenant, are called Shuti tablets. Shuti means enlightenment. Now you can go to any Baptist church in Nashville and they'll teach you all the enlightenment teachings of the ancients. Well, just kidding. Because once again, the two tablets that Moses brought down from Mount Sinai are a penal code. They're not the Shuti tablets. What happened to those? These two tablets that sit on top of this pillar are the two hemispheres of our brain. And it's only when we understand that we are a mirror image of this Stargate pillar that we truly understand what the potential of our body really is. We are walking antennas. We are walking beings of enlightenment in potential. So they bury this symbology. Here's her Isis's can or pillar with the serpent emerging from it. Same thing is shown here with Ea. Ea and his pillar with the light teachings. Some smartass, perhaps, in the Winchester Cathedral in England apparently knew what I was talking about or had some awareness of it. This is a depiction here of the prophets cowering before Yahweh, the guy who gave us the 10 Commandments. Can anyone show me Yahweh in this picture? Where is the I am in this picture? Anyone? Is Yahweh the bearded old white guy on the throne right here with the egg? No, that is not Yahweh. Yahweh is the serpent that snakes around the side right here, and his head comes out at the bottom, and he's at the base of his pillar. Someone in the church in Winchester knew that Yahweh is not the dirty old white man on the throne. Yahweh is the bearded serpent. And here he is right here in his Egyptian depiction, and here's his pillar right behind him. Yahweh, his pillar. But what's happened in the Bible, in the Old Testament, in the opinion of Zechariah Sitchin, and I agree, is that there was a flip. The ultimate deception. Yahweh, who gives us the penal code, is supposed to be the great God. He's not. It's Ea, the serpent, the great light, that Yahweh is attempted to discredit. But they intertwine the symbolism, they mix it up, and it's our job to go back and figure out what this is really all about. Another depiction of the same pillar with the head. And we notice that the dead head, the head of the Savior Osiris, has these 3 circles within it. Back to Dana's depiction of the pillar. I think that this pillar actually existed. I think it actually exists today. And I think that once we go into places like the Hill of Tara in Ireland, when we go to Rennes-le-Château, France, when we visit these places, we're absorbing the secrets of it and reclaiming the pieces and putting the pieces back together. So that in the coming days and in years,